Sci-Fi Fanatics podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Kubal. Today, I have with me four very special guests. We have returning guest, Andrew Johnston. Andrew, how are you doing today?
I'm awesome.
I hope I'm going in the right order. I don't know if it matters, but I'm going to go up to our top section there. Nicholas W. Fuller of the newly minted Nerdy Nebula podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm very good. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. Nicholas is a also technically returning guest. We had some co-authored things, co-podcasted thing, I guess you could say. Chris from Bearded Book Beast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime. Chris also joined us for my first live book launch for Andrew's first book in the Iron Frost universe. So make sure you guys, thank you, The United Moon, check that out. We're going to be giving a signed copy of that away today. And then for the first time, which I'm really excited, Josh from Already Overbooked. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, buddy. I appreciate you having me on. I'm super excited to go
awesome.
through and talk to Andrew about his amazing book. I had too much fun reading it, man. It was too much fun.
You did?
Oh yeah, I can't wait to hear what you think about it.
It's awesome. Sorry, Andrew. I have my copy here somewhere. Once we get talking, I'll bring mine back up. I think I put it over there. I didn't want my son to rip it. So I love the cover. It's amazing.
I actually, the
He's
dragon
like,
on it is rescued from the previous cover. Whenever I was published with a small press, so that's like it's just like a different angle of that said dragon.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, Andrew, do you want to talk a little bit as we get started? You want to talk a little bit about this book's like originality, like how it was originally birthed, and maybe some of the processes that you went through to make it become the Scorched Hunter and to give it that new fresh coat of paint with that amazing cover.
Absolutely, with the flames and everything, the streaks, no spinners. Well, this originally was called Prim Noir, which you will find in the book because it is the female version of the governor of the country that you will learn about as you read the book. Um, it was with a small press, and that small press kind of it caved in on itself because people were saying too many mean things about it, and I guess they didn't like their feelings getting hurt, so they shut down the whole thing and all that. And I was like, okay, whatever, and all that. And so I said to myself, I'm not going to let this thing, lie in the trash heap. So I gave it a new beginning. I gave it a new cover. I gave it a new title. And the title fits perfectly well because the main character, half her face is burnt off by dragonfire, and she's a hunter. And Daniel and I, we talked about it. I really, really, really want to go down to Cabela's in West Virginia and do a book signing in front of that fish tank thing, and maybe have someone wrap this in not cellophane, whatever it is, and get in the tank with a scuba mask and everything.
Nice.
And
Nice.
so
If you do that, I'm
and
coming.
has
I'm
some,
gonna
it's
go.
had
I'm
some
gonna
good
go to.
reviews so far. And well, when I went to sleep after work, I woke up this morning and I had 7 sales already for it. It's had a grand spanking total of 15 pre-orders, and with all that's happened in the last 2 weeks, that has pushed me to 1,042 sales in
Dang.
1 year and 2 months.
Look at you,
Awesome.
dude.
That's
Nice,
awesome, man.
nice,
That's
nice.
awesome,
Absolutely.
man.
So that's
Which is,
the process.
as you say,
Yeah.
which is awesome because like Andrew and I talked, like first we like really started talking when he had his first novella, which is like its own separate thing, The Discarded Night come out. And so far that's been your bestseller, right?
Oh,
Amazing
it's
cover.
it's the best of the best.
Yeah. It's a really good one. So, but you guys should check that out. But it was so funny that I was like noticing. I was like, oh, Andrew's like getting up there for the Discarded Night. And I always find it interesting at how like the book journey kind of comes about. So, Andrew, do you want to talk a little bit? Like, let's just like pause here just for the Scorched Hunter. We'll talk about like pre-orders and things. Do you mind going back and talking about your first experience with pre-orders versus sales? Like overall sales so far for that first book, because I think that's an amazing lesson for people to learn.
Well, okay, so for the Discarded Night, you're just learning the ropes and everything on how pre-orders work, how ARC readers work, and everything. And there was a whole formatting issues, and pre-orders for this only ended up at 5. But what happened was is that after all of that up and down struggle and everything, and spending too much money here and doing this and doing that, May of 2025 hit. I had a book signing at my local Barnes and Noble, sold 12 books total, and at the time I only had just the two here. And I would have sold 13, but someone walked out of the store with it and everything. I always like to tell that one and everything. I'm hoping it's not a relative. I can see it being one of my relatives or whatever it is or something like that. Or
They're like, he owes us.
But anyway, so after that, which I still owe my sister a percentage because she took the photo, I went viral on X, and I had 10 point. I think I have 10.2 or 10.3 million views. I think Elon capped me off at 10.2, and a bunch of stuff and everything. And I got into arguments with the crypto crowd, and they said, "Oh, we bought all your books, we bought all your stuff." I'm like, "It's print on demand, buddy. If you bought it out, you bought out the algorithm, you bought out the servers, you bought out all of that." And what turned out to be is after that kind of disappointing 5 pre-orders for the Discarded Knight, I ended up selling over 400 copies, and it totally blew me away that happened. And also, this book, it almost had a literary agent before any of this, before any of the thoughts of indie publishing. Excuse me, the literary agent said this is the best thing that ever came across my desk, but she couldn't relate to the main character, which the reason being I think is because the main character is autistic, is on the spectrum and everything, and there's those emotional differences and everything. But it turns out that this is, I mean, I've had fan mail about this. I had one person say, I'm on the spectrum and I couldn't see myself being able to do this. And then I had a bully from like 4 or 5 jobs ago email me and say, I'm really proud of the fact that you followed your dreams, and that I'm sorry that I messed with you and all that. And I had to really think back to it. I'm like, the only thing you messed with was a cardboard box and a door. And if you did mess with me, then I don't remember.
I still think that's pretty cool though, like overall to like have an impact on even an enemy, so to speak, or a frenemy, like either way. But I have to say, like, as somebody, I think Nicholas is there too, right? As somebody who has a novella like about to launch, which Nicholas just launched his recently, but like most people like don't do novellas, but like I actually have seen that they're back on the rise again, and I actually really enjoy them. And I'm like, okay, anybody ever heard of Murderbot, right? So I just think that there's a couple of really good lessons to learn there, and I think it's just really really cool. But I think that you did a great job capitalizing when, like Andrew and I were chatting. He's like, yeah, I had this happen, and we were like, bam, 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 like messaging back and forth. So I just was saying too, like, to him and to others, like the other lesson is when you have an opportunity, like capitalize on it. He went to sell 12 books, ended up selling a lot more. So if he had not gone to Barnes and Noble, out of his comfort zone or set something up, right, and put himself out there, that wouldn't have happened. So, and then, you're talking again over 1,000 sales for 3 books, 2 of them, like 2 books, but 1 novella, like those are really good stats for really anybody at this point, but particularly indie. So, Andrew, do you mind just for the last subset of my question there, and then I'll let other people get in there? Do you mind just telling us maybe like so far, like where you're at with the Scorched Hunter for pre-orders, and then maybe like what's some of the things you learned from that correlation for sales between pre-orders and then going into the launch, between the Discarded Knight and the Scorched Hunter?
Okay. Well, I want to throw in as well with the whole novella. Nicholas and I are in the same novella competition, the Sphinx
Oh, cool.
competition, which at round 2 begins, I think, December 20th, if I'm not mistaken. But as far as the process with the Scorched Hunter is concerned, like I said, I ended up with the 15 pre-orders, and a lot of those were from a book signing I did at a comic book store, and then now that I'm into the official launch period, like I said, I sold 7 books. And they're mostly ebooks, of course, and everything. But I'm hoping to eventually, obviously, get paperbacks, sales, and so forth. I'm definitely going to do that thing to where I keep things at 99 cents, and with my track record, it'll be back upable, or be able to be backed up, because that way it's easy access. And I'm also working to get everything on Kindle Unlimited. That way people can get those KENDs reads and everything. So I enjoy the process. I enjoy putting the stuff out there and everything. I think I'll probably try to do my best to stick with indie and everything. And I can tell you for certain that my next book will probably come out either May or June of next year and all that. But it's still in the writing stage, and it's the second book that I've ever worked on that's made over 100,000 words and everything. But it's getting to the ending point with that.
That's awesome. I just wanted to point that out because I think it's a really good lesson to learn. Like pre-orders, in my opinion, from the stats that I've seen, don't have as much relevance as they used to 3 or 4 years ago, like before the pandemic, and especially like the last year and a half, like with when the algorithm shifted on a lot of these different apps, it just completely shifted, and you don't get seen as much for pre-orders, in my opinion, on average. But like to me, once the book is actually launched, right? So it's always a pre-launch, launch, and then post-launch. And just so everybody knows, I am going to be doing videos and check-ins and journals and stuff once the new year hits for my novella, my trilogy, just so people can kind of see like what the process is. I always love when people do that really extensively because everybody learns. I always learn something, all about that process. And I just want to point out Andrew because again, The Discarded Knight did not have, that's his least pre-ordered book or novella or product, and so far he sold the most of it. So I just want to also point that lesson out. I'm sorry guys, I'm on a high this week for teaching. I'm just like on a roll, so I just figured I'd keep going. But I do want to just point out when Andrew was like, hey, I'm going to send you a copy, I'm like, sweet, I pre-ordered it on Kindle and stuff, but holy crap, you can see I don't have a lot of room left, but holy crap, this book is amazing, and the cover looks really cool on ebook, but it looks even better in paperback. So usually I'm a Kindle guy now because of like having a little guy and limited space and stuff, but holy heck, is this an amazing looking paperback once you get it in your hand. So I do recommend people to grab it. All right, peeps, you guys are amazing. You have amazing podcasts. Who wants to go next? I'm gonna shut up now.
All right, I go.
Boom.
Andrew, loved. We talked about it before. We jumped on the live. I really loved this story. Now, this is my first story of yours. I'm really excited to check out the other two when I get the opportunity. I really enjoyed your writing. My first question for you is I'm really curious, where did the idea come from for the Scorched Hunter?
Well, I wanted to have a main character that uh, people on the autistic spectrum could look up to, someone to where it combines that kind of brawny masculineness of hunting and everything into it. And I wanted to throw in a bunch of other stuff to really show, ultimately feed into the message, which this sentence is going everywhere, but into the message of it's not what you look like that matters, it's what you do that matters. Because as you read, the main character Anna Brighton struggles with her appearance. Thinks that everybody's like, oh, well, they're never going to trust me. They're never going to like me for the way I look, and you'll find out whether or not that's the case. Sometimes we're our worst judge, and so I wanted to deliver that in a book form with ice dragons and shape shifting and elemental magic and all kinds of different characters, and I wanted to also create the most crooked politician in fictional history, so I threw that in there as the villain, and I can honestly tell you that he's pretty damn crooked. He wanted to create a tournament game where people were pelted with potatoes. He's that freaking weird.
So one more follow-up question for you, Andrew, and then I'm going to stop talking and let the other two fantastic gentlemen on here ask you a question. I thoroughly enjoyed the creatures. So the only reason I'm bringing it up is because you just brought up these creatures. I had too much fun with them. I'm curious, again, first time reading a story of yours, were these beasts originated from earlier works? Did you pull them from different mythology? Where do these ideas from these fantastic creatures come from?
Well, I originally wanted this story to be almost like a combination of medieval times and in a western and everything. That's why as you read the book, you'll find bits and pieces of that kind of stuff in it. Like for instance, the storm bison, who, as you know, can manifest storm clouds from their nostrils, and whether it's when it's cold, it becomes sleet or hail. And they're gentle creatures, and they're pretty quick, and they're durable, And then all of the other creatures, like the Cobra Swift, I wanted to create creatures that could fly as fast as an F-15. And there's also the Chief Fox, which I don't know if anybody's watched Robin Hood Men in Tights. The Chief Fox is inspired off of the whole part where we'll say, "Fox them!" Right? And then there's just not the dolphin sound and everything in there. I didn't know how to write the dolphin sound
That's fair.
for that. So I just made up that creature and went from there.
Awesome. Awesome. Loved them, man. They were too much fun. You killed it. You killed it.
Anything that's a Mel Brooks homage gets points for me.
100%, man.
Same.
100%.
Yep.
Frabuka.
So, I'm sorry. You talked about Mel Brooks. I got to bring this up. If you're a big fan of Mel Brooks and you have not read "It's All About Mel," the book that he wrote, it is so good. It is I think I listened to the audiobook and I think he did the narration. Go buy the book.
Wow.
It's
that.
fantastic. It's all about Mel. You're welcome.
Adding that to my TBR.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he
You're
wrote a
welcome.
book.
I might get my dad that for. Hopefully, he's not watching in the live. I might get my dad that for Christmas now.
There you go.
Dad, if you're here, you're welcome.
I was just kidding.
You're welcome, Dad.
Guess we don't have to wrap the gift now.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Kindle Direct.
Okay, before I get into like specific question for Andrew, I don't think that we've like mentioned in the live yet that I think no. I guess you did say that Andrew's going to give away a book at some point today, right?
Yep.
All right. So, did people just have to hang out to get the book, or what do you have to do to get the book in the giveaway?
Yeah, they can hang out, and then we're gonna give them a number, and then I'm gonna post it here in about
All right.
10 minutes on in the group too, and then people just pick a number, and we're gonna just randomly pick.
Nice.
Thank you, Nicholas.
All right.
I totally forgot.
Yep. I'll make sure we get that base covered, right? And then Andrew, can you give us a little pitch for the book, bud?
All right, the Scorched Hunter.
Do the hardest thing that you have to do as an author, please, if you could.
Oh, I'm like a master of this at this
Oh.
point. I can give you
Okay.
the elevator pitch for the grimdark that I have in the works. But for this one,
Ooh.
it is about a hunter scarred by dragon fire, seeking self-acceptance and the downfall of a dictatorship. Or you could say that a hunter scarred. Well, hang on. How did I want to say this? A epic fantasy where self-acceptance might lead to the downfall of a dictator.
Nice. Okay. All right. The Django Unchained gif, like, you had my attention, but now, right? Yeah, that's good. That's a good pitch. So, what made you decide to go with a female main character?
Well, I have been told by quite a few folks that I write very, very good women, and I'm also exceptionally good at writing women villains. Now, and I will say about the Ignited Moon that when I had a beta reader take a look at that, and she read the villainous woman part, the mother of the main character, she's like, "That bitch." You know, so I'm just good at it, and I honestly can't see myself ever switching to the male side of things. But you never know. We'll see. Depends on what you read in the next 12 months.
It's always
No
good.
spoilers
Always
there.
good to get those strong reactions from the readers, right? Any time that they have a strong reaction, it's like, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then how many books? Exactly. Yeah, you got it. How many books are you planning in the series?
Well, they're all technically standalones, but I kind of like I've been trying to rewire how exactly to promote these, and a little while ago it was two prequels that lead to one big book, and I think that's what I'm going to try to do. But I just wording that is just so wordy. It's like so it's basically going to be, two prequels leading up to one big book, and the one big book is kind of like my Avengers book in a way, to where there are team ups with characters, and characters don't get along with each other, and then the nasty, crummy mom character. You may not see her again, which I kind of spoiled that there. But yeah, Josh is like, oh, no, well, spoilers and stuff like that. Aunt, I told you. I said you don't even need a lie detector test with me. It's just gonna come out and all that at some point.
I'm a dad. I'll forget. So
It must be the Red Bull.
Same. Must be the Red Bull. Anything that's getting an Avengers comparison though.
Oh yeah,
Top tier.
well,
Good stuff.
the elemental magic, some archery, and the whole
Okay.
classic hero's journey. You know, so I
I
actually
love
had
it.
the
We have
reviews.
Mel Brooks,
Mel Brooks, yeah.
Django Unchained, and then now the Avengers. We're like on a roll right
Right.
now.
Exactly, yeah.
We're we're
Just
cooking
for
with
the
gas.
world.
Yeah.
We're cooking now.
Yep.
Thought I smelled something.
Talk to.
Yeah,
Oh man.
yeah.
Cool.
Well, that Avengers one though, the main character, what makes it even more dangerous is the fact that he's slowly but surely going blind. So, how does one pilot a dragon or fly a dragon while simultaneously losing one's sight and fighting the world's fastest woman?
What's the problem?
Yeah.
That's a problem. Well stated. Well stated.
I can't see you.
That's like just me without my glasses or contacts. Trying to drive a car.
Every day with you.
Okay.
But yeah. So I think hopefully that covers it.
Yeah. All right. Andrew, congratulations, first of all, man. I'm so excited for you. Like, it seems like not that long ago when we did this for your last book.
Yeah.
And just so if anyone wants to hang out Sunday at 5 p.m. EST, Andrew will be on my channel for Beast Friends Forever. We're going to chat. So I read Discarded Night and loved it. It was awesome. I've not read Ignited Moon yet. I need to get on my way so I can get Scorched Hunter and read that too. But I'm excited to see how your writing has grown, like as the books have grown, to see how your writing has grown too. So, but my question is from your side with your process and everything. Do you feel like how has it changed as you've come out with each book? Do you feel like your process has changed? Has it grown? Have you done things differently, or have you kind of stuck to the same thing through it all?
I've learned to only include what's absolutely necessary. I've learned to cut out extra words. I've learned to make characters a bit more clever, and I've learned how to make characters a bit more unsure of themselves. And also, sometimes I have learned how to, not sometimes, I have learned how to create characters who they're not consistent. One minute they're sure of themselves, the next minute they're panicking, and then they just flip flop and they can't make up their minds because that's just how their mood flows. And I'm sure the reader will be like, okay, get your poop together.
Well, that makes them very relatable because that's how we all are, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. That's good, man. I'm excited that you're growing because everybody here. Well, not me and Josh because we haven't written anything yet, but everybody
yet.
else. As an author, right? Every book, everything you put out, you want to grow and learn, and you want to get better every time. So it's awesome to hear, man. It's just exciting stuff, dude. So yeah, congrats again, and yeah, I'm just pumped for you, man.
Absolutely. Me too. Oh, I got so much in the pipeline. I got a horror book that started.
Oh
Yeah.
man, you mentioned the grimdark last time we all talked to you. I don't know if you mentioned the horror one before though. So you got some fun stuff in the works.
Oh yeah. The horror one is about a groundskeeper defending his 1970s graveyard from ghosts, demons, and greedy land developers.
Oh, nice.
Which of the three is the scariest?
Yeah,
The land
I would say the greedy land developer because
Come on now.
that would be the scariest.
yeah.
The
I
man's
gotta
not-
know when he mentioned groundskeeper, who was the first person you guys thought of? I don't know if anybody else thought of the same thing I did.
Oh,
Probably Hagrid. That's the only one I know.
Oh man, no. I guess I'm just weird. I thought of groundskeeper Willie from
Oh yeah, groundskeeper
Oh,
Willie. He's groundskeeper Willie. I'm after that Homer Simpson and his little
That's pretty
Brian.
good.
Nice.
trim my weeds and pull my grass out. flowers that all stepped on a little.
You still got the impersonations down.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Voice actor
Nice.
over there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I got another good Scottish one here. Okay, so my sister used to work for this guy who was from Scotland, and I started talking to him at her 30th birthday, and I started mentioning all these things that I know about Scotland, and he says to my sister, he says, "Hey, Emily, your brother's smarter than you," and then I'm like, "Yes, recognition." My
Big
sister's
sibling win.
Yes.
Are you going
That's
to narrate your books? Because I feel like you could easily do
should.
that.
I
Shouldn't
keep
we?
telling him that.
I really want to. I really need someone to coach me on how the technology and everything works because I may be a millennial, but I am just not there. So
We need to connect you with Tim McKay, E.L.
yeah.
Montague. You
Yep.
know, both of them go through and
They
do their
do
own
their
stuff,
own.
man. We need to
Yep.
connect you with them
Yeah.
because I think
Yeah.
you have skill in not only writing but
Yeah.
doing these voices. I feel like you could bring these
Oh, yeah.
characters to life even more because they're from you. So it's not like someone
Yeah.
has to interpret your writing going, this is kind of how I interpret their voice or how they would act.
Yeah.
Coming exact from you, I think, and would elevate the
Oh
narration
yeah.
than
I
just
agree.
so I think we need to make this happen. So between all of us on the call, we need to go through and get this working.
yeah,
for you,
definitely.
buddy.
If you all can help me out with that, I'd be very grateful,
Yeah.
and then we can get the Discard Knight um, audiobook narrator that it desperately needs and everything. You know.
I think it would get
Without
get
the
more
bass
people.
man, crime has no punchline.
That's my favorite one, man. That's spot on.
You did some interesting ones in our pre-recorded episode that'll actually come out this upcoming Monday, 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know, like, you did some, with us, like me, Chris, and everybody else in the first live that we did book launch, but you did some like completely different ones that to me for our pre-recorded where I was like, holy crap, like it showed a lot more range, I think. Because you picked some different characters just like randomly, and I was like, dang, I just kept thinking even more after that interview. I was like, you really have to do your own audiobooks.
What was
Because
Melissa's Griffin? She's like, "Oh, please, I'm just a poor innocent Griffin. I'm trying to shout
did
me
Batman?
talents."
I know for a fact you did Batman, The Dark Knight, and there were like 3 other ones. Yeah, I was
Where are
like,
the other jokes going?
they're really good.
Somebody knows.
Oh, and Nicholas,
I'm
I'm so
jealous.
sorry. I just wanted real quick, since Andrew did mention that you're both in that novella contest, do you mind just letting our audience know? And Chris kind of mentioned it, right? That you're an author as well now. So do you mind just dropping us a line for your novella?
Sure. Like yeah.
Put him on the spot.
Shattered, a sanguine star.
I really like the cover,
novella.
Yeah.
Right? Thank you. Yeah,
On
yeah.
my reading list for
This is
2026. So.
nice. Good to hear. Yeah, this is my debut novella, science fantasy. It's kind of the broader series is going to have like progression fantasy elements, so my main character is going to be getting kind of stronger and stronger as things go on. But this is a lot of like what happens before any of that happens, and there's a little bit of political intrigue, a dash of humor, and a lot of fun action. I've got my favorite review I have so far is from Pippin of the Shire, aka Ganesh, that's on Fanfi Attic, and he said, "This feels like a book that was written for me," and I was like, "Yes,"
Yes.
all I needed was one good review, and I'm like, "Good, mission accomplished, done.
Yeah.
I'm happy."
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, thank you.
I meant to mention earlier, but I didn't want to like kind of get us out. But since we were talking, specifically about novellas, and Chris mentioned, you had, previously published a little while ago as well. I just want to make sure we plugged that for you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
great questions so far. This has been awesome. I just wanted to ask you again, Andrew. In terms of, I think that it's interesting with how you set up the universe. So, do you mind just telling us a little bit with that creation? Because, like what Josh said with like your character, your creature creation. You and I talked a lot about, character creation for like Anna and stuff like that. And even like your villain and stuff in this one, but some of your other characters in the United Moon we discussed, right, in Discarded Night, in our solo interview as well, after that first book launched for you. But I'm just curious, like, I thought it was so cool with how you set up like a Tolkien-esque world, and what were some of the like symbolism behind some of the things. I just thought you had one of the cooler worlds, and that you built some really amazing things into there. So you mind just letting us know how you came up with this universe?
Well, I wanted an ancient world. I wanted a more modern kind of medieval world, and then I wanted a horror world. And so I split them up on the three different continents, and I started building up mythos and powers and abilities and landmarks, and I went from there. Now, if you when you read the Scorched Hunter, you're in the more modern, more the kind of Western medieval sort of area of the world, where technology is more advanced and there's the armor's a bit better. And with the Ignited Moon, you're into the more ancient world, more ancient rituals. You learn more about the creation of the world that you see, and the world that you see was danced into existence by five goddesses. And I got the whole dance inspiration off of the first uh, Guardians of the Galaxy. Hey, what better way to save the universe than to dance, and what better to create the universe than to dance? You can dance if you want to.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a rad idea, dude, to have like different technologies and whatnot in
is
different
cool.
continents.
I
That's
like
really
that a
cool.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and you'll see you'll get to eventually see the horror one, but I'm not going to reveal too much about the horror continent. I will tell you this, that it's called the continent of blasphemy for a reason.
I just think it's cool that you're like writing slightly different things, right? And like using, like fantasy in a different way with some of the subgenre, some of the subgenre, like characteristics put in there, but then still, keeping them within the same world. And I think that's like super, super cool. That's what I personally liked about the Forgotten Realms was that like if you look behind me, there's like City of Ravens, right? Which is almost like it's like an Ocean's 11, but with just like a couple people. But it's not really a heist, but it kind of is. But it's an Ocean's 11 if you read it, and it's like with a smaller group, and it's like super interesting. But then you go somewhere else, right? And there's just so many different people and continents, and no one author ever wrote the same type of story. And even though it was still fantasy, they had like Richard Lee Byers I interviewed. He's one of my writing heroes, and I got to interview him and tell him that, and he wants to come back, so I'm so excited. But like he has a lot of horror elements, and then some of them had some like sci-fi fantasy, and it's just so cool. I think that you kind of took that similar concept and like made it your own, but really like dove more into those kind of things to just pull in some really unique aspects. So I just wanted to point that out because I thought that was like really, really cool, and I haven't seen many people do that. So it's almost like you're a bunch of Forgotten Realms authors, but like it's just you in your world. And I don't know, that's a really unique idea. So I thought that was really cool.
Absolutely, I'll be honest. I have not read nearly the capacity of fantasy and science fiction as most people have. I've kind of been more mainstream, like DC, Marvel, and all that kind of mentality. So I'm eager to explore more authors as time progresses. But yeah, no, I came up with that whole three different continents and dancing the world into existence, and female protagonists having those inner challenges that make things difficult throughout the entirety of the stories, and I hope to continue that. Now the grim dark though will take a totally different path, but that's in the future.
All right, Andrew, I got two questions for you. Two of them. First one, you said DC Comics, right? Did I hear that right? DC Comics? We're going to see if we're about to be best friends forever. Who is your favorite? Who's your favorite DC character? Is it Batman or is it someone else?
Oh
Your
gosh.
favorite? All time.
He's
Right.
like, you should see where my other tattoo is.
Yeah, right.
No.
We're
I'm on
camera.
both sides of the fence. I got Toby
Ooh.
Spider. But okay, so favorite DC character. I mean, one would think it would be Batman with all the toys and comics and stuff that I have. But actually, it's Dick Grayson.
I knew I liked you. He is
That's
hands down the
mine.
best. That's
He's
mine.
he's
Love
a
it,
free
man.
spirit, bit of
Mhm.
humor.
It's a better
And
Batman.
right now I'm reading Batman Black Mirror by
Mhm.
Scott Snyder, so he's taking on that kind of
Mhm.
darker role for himself, even though that's not who he is. But he has to do it because he's honoring Bruce and he's protecting Gotham.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just love Dick Grayson.
Mm-hmm.
You
My
know,
Same.
boy. That's my boy. He's my favorite. All right. Awesome.
Absolutely.
All right. You passed. You passed the.
Great
Are
question.
you really a DC fan? So perfect. All right.
the only
Now,
thing I didn't
now
like
you
is whenever they changed the blue to red on
Oh,
his
yeah.
outfit
I like
when he was
the
not
yeah,
blue.
going
for
on
52. Yeah, for
52.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for
They went
54,
back to
yeah.
the blue then,
they
The
went
whole
back
50
to blue, but
Yeah.
kind of.
Well, we'll jump back. We'll stop talking about Dick Grayson. But then they had the Grayson series for a little bit, and I
yeah,
was
Yeah,
into it for
he's
a
like a
little bit,
spy,
and
yeah.
I was like, you know,
he's
it
like a
wasn't
secret agent and everything, and then
Yeah.
went to Batman,
Yeah.
Robin, Eternal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got a little weird, but it
Yeah.
was fun. All right, back to your book. Sorry, you said
That's all right.
DC. I got excited. I get excited
gonna
when it
ask.
comes to definitely hearing that you're a Dick Grayson fan. Love it, dude. All right, so I've spoken with a few authors on the channel, and I always find it interesting to dive a little bit deeper into areas in your writing that are the easiest and the hardest, because you go through and talk with people like, hey, I love and it's very easy for me to go through and write action scenes, but the dialogue is kind of what I'm not awesome at, or vice versa, or building that arc that you're really looking for within your characters. I'm curious for you, Andrew, what is from your perspective, the easiest and the hardest to go through and write?
The weather,
The weather.
the weather. I'll be honest with you, because it's like I pay attention more to the characters and the magic and what they're going through than the weather. And right now at this point, with my current project, I have to figure out how to adjust how the sun works, and have to figure out how the things with the wind and clouds, and that's going to be one whole edit alone just for that. So I'm going to pick that. It wasn't the original thing, but that's going to be the big thing at the moment, as far as difficulty is the weather. And
Oh yeah, because you're doing like a Lord of the Rings thing. How do I say it without giving away? You have a lot going on, right? And you have to figure out where
there's too
people
much going
are.
on. This
Yeah.
story was it was the three continents all being featured with 14 hours apart. And then I decided I have to get rid of the 14 hours apart. It's driving me absolutely mad. I have to get rid of it. And I said to myself, Andrew, you don't like daylight savings time, so why are you doing this to yourself? Why in blue blazes would you separate the continents by 14 hours? So now I have to. That's why the weather is even more a pain in the butt in the situation of the moons and the sun and everything, because I now have to figure out when is it daylight and when is it nighttime, and all align it into one time zone, even though they're here, here. You know, just so it's not confusing for myself and for the readers. Even though I'm sure the readers wouldn't mind, but one less Advil.
I don't know how you're doing that, because I have by the end of my novella, like there's like just like I have to get everybody in. Like I try not to spoil it, in one location, right? But there's like it's like larger, and it's like just to do that, and like I had to like map it out on Adobe Express with like different like tiles and stuff like D&D, just to make sure that I and like everybody's where they're supposed to be at that time. So I kept thinking when you said that before when we talked, I was like, oh my gosh, like mine's just in this one location, and yours is like an entire continent. So I
That,
can't imagine trying to match everything up with
that's
that
when it's
kind of
too
stuff, too.
involved. That's when it's too involved, and so that's why I had to put everybody in the same time zone. Because I didn't want to have to graph it out. I didn't want to have to keep on guessing, and I kept it simple. It's probably going to end up being the most simplest part of this new one. The Scorched Hunter, though, it's all in the same time zone. It's very simple. The weather is actually better in this one. It's not as frightful. but the fire in it is so delightful.
Well played. Well played.
Andrew,
Hmm.
I'm curious. Who was your favorite creature in the book? I'm not saying to write, just in general. Who's your favorite, and why is it the storm bison?
Well, Jiminy Christmas. I mean, read my mind or whatever it is. Yeah, it is a Storm Bison. It is Cole. I just love Cole. He's a lovable guy. He does his thing. He's fuzzy. He puts up with a lot of BS from Anna and from you know nasty, nasty, nasty henchmen, and I just love him. I wish I could make a little stuffed animal for him.
You can.
You
That's
can.
what's
Yeah.
great. It's
Build a
2025.
bear.
You can.
Kickstarter.
You can. Build a bear.
Mhm.
Yeah, build a bear. Or when you do your Kickstarter to go through and for your audiobooks when they come out,
There
if
you go.
you get to a certain thing, you get a little stuffy. Listen,
Ooh.
I got you, man. I got
Collector's
you.
edition,
Marketing
Andrew.
side.
Yeah. I gotta
Boom.
make them look very distinct though, because I really, 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 really don't want to get a copyright infringement from the Avatar: The Last Airbender people
Or Pokemon.
or
Change,
Pokemon.
just change it.
Oh, I know.
change it.
Yeah, Pokemon. Yeah,
Yeah.
and Last Airbender.
It's an awesome idea, though. I would totally back. I would back
Oh,
that,
heck
but
yeah.
now I definitely want one.
Yeah.
I've never really thought about
I'm like,
Kickstarters because I don't
right
really
there.
know where I want to point it to.
It'd be awesome. I'll take some of my GI Joes down for that. That's fine.
Yeah. Andrew, I would be cool with a stuffed animal or even something like this, man. Like if you could do one of these two, like this size of
yeah.
it, chilling there. Dude,
You know what would be really
make it
cool
happen, man.
is a Storm Bison milk pitcher sort of thing for tea and coffee, and
Cool.
and have the milk come out of the nostrils or something
Ooh,
like that.
there you go.
Yeah,
Now you're
and,
thinking.
Now
you
we're
know,
cooking. We're
and
cooking
here's the
out
thing,
here.
with
with
I'm
the,
loving
with the
it.
silver hooked horns, have an LED lights in the horns so you can do it at night,
That's awesome.
Oh,
where you can pour the milk at night.
That's awesome.
brilliant.
Who doesn't want snot in their coffee? I mean, of course,
Come on.
right?
Usually I got to use my own.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, yeah, you gotta add the little food dye in there, drip the little green food dye
Yep. Oh, nice.
man.
Yep.
and some dry
Okay,
ice.
let me
and,
build
make
on
it misty.
Josh's. Let me build on Josh's question just a little bit, Andrew. You talked about the weather is the most difficult to write, which does sound pretty complex in the way you have it set up. What is the thing that you write where you're like, this is the part where it just flowed and this felt so good and like this is the kind of writing that's my jam. What is that for you?
Actually, it's having the elemental magic side of things. Because I
Oh,
love
so the
doing the whole-
easiest is when you get to control the weather. Okay, all right, that makes sense.
It's either when I can control the weather,
Yeah.
and everything. It's either when I control it versus when I have to guess and be like, okay, sun's position, carry the one times 1,000. But no, like just using the elemental magic and in each of the stories. And you'll see plenty of that in the Scorched Hunter. Mostly the fire aspect of it. Because this is a whole different set of, and Josh is familiar with the word Ruto. This is a whole different set of Ruto in comparison to the Ignite Moon. The Ignite Moon has its set of Ruto, and the Scorched Hunter has its own set of Ruto. And yeah, oh yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Mhm.
All right, I got one more question for you. So, I'm curious because earlier I know you're a big comics guy. You do a lot of DC, a lot of Marvel, all that stuff. So I'm curious. You mentioned you haven't read a ton of fantasy. So why didn't you write like a superhero book? And then what made you decide to do fantasy and what kind of inspirations do you have? Like, is it from maybe movies or other things besides books? What about that?
Well, I mean, in a way, there's a little bit of the superhero stuff. I mean, with the Ignited Moon, you got the electrical powers, you got static shock. I've expanded a bit more as far as what I read. I mean, I've read John Gwynn, Joe Abercrombie, Andrea Stewart, Mark Lawrence, and then most of what I took inspiration from is of course Tolkien and George R. R. Martin.
Oh yeah.
Though of course, and I always like to throw this in. I'm way faster when it comes to the which the poor old man. We can't keep beating on that poor old man. But anyway, man.
Love it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I took inspiration off of Tolkien, took inspiration off of that, and then I pulled from the kind of the animals that exist in America with the bison and the snakes and everything to create the cobra swifts and the storm bisons and well, of course the chief foxes. There's foxes in America, but then there's cheetahs in Africa and so on. And then we went full Mel Brooks after that. So
Nice. Love it, man.
may the short be with you.
I do have to
All
say
right.
though that like my friend, like I think sometimes that people think you have to, like people always say like read in your genre. Totally true, right? But I think that sometimes people really aren't considering that I read a lot, as you guys can see, right? I know Chris does. You can see his books, but like sometimes it is limiting, right? Like and
Oh yeah.
right, and like I always try to think of like the Bruce Lee quote, right? Like and I loved like I can't remember. It was like the Forbidden Kingdom with Jet Li and Jackie Chan, and they have this amazing montage of the two of them narrating martial arts like points of view, and they say like seek the form, but then seek the formless, and I think that's
Be
what
like
people
water. Be like
mean.
water.
Yeah, people
Be like
mean
water.
that, right? Yeah, like you need to learn what people are doing,
Mm-hmm.
but then, at times it's restrictive. So,
Mm-hmm.
like my friend Christopher G. Brennan, like we talked when, like for my first season, where like he was like, yeah, I don't read a lot of epic fantasy, and I read The Hellborn King, and I was like, holy crap, this is one of the best books I've read by somebody that doesn't read a lot of fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how he did it, I'll be honest. And his latest one to wrap up just came out, Queen of Scorn. And I can't wait to get caught up for the series. But like, I just want to point out that like Andrew and Christopher like have amazing books, but also maybe haven't read as much as you think. Maybe most people do. So I just want to point that out. Is like I think like I always tell people for whether it's martial arts or whether it's writing, like the first part's the start. That's my like colloquialism, and I always go from there. But then after that, like learning who you can learn from. But I don't think people feel that way. I think they think I have to wait a few years till I've read all these books. And I don't. I think we're missing out on some amazing books. So I just, since you mentioned that earlier, I just want to point that out because I think that when you want to write, I think you should want to write. When you want to do something else, I think when the urge is there and you want to learn how to do that thing, I think you should do it then, rather than waiting to have some sort of weird, not weird, but a lot of people think you need like to have a bachelor's degree in writing, right, to be the most
No,
successful
you don't.
author. It's not true.
I'm
Yeah, it's not true.
I'm relying on my education from 2008 and just reading other people's books and stuff. And I also it is important to read outside your genre. Like I read Blacktop Wasteland by S.A. Cosby. I've read The Devil Takes You Home from Gambino Iglesias. Buffalo Hunter, which by the way is probably one of the best books I've ever read. The Road by Cormac McCarthy. So you really got to expand out, and not just in fiction, but nonfiction as well. Um, I also read what's it called? It's called The Wager by David Gran, which is about like a shipwreck. So
Oh yeah, my friend gave that to me.
yeah, it is probably one of the best nonfiction books I've ever read. But yeah, you really have to expand, and you don't need to go to school or anything. You just need to want it bad enough. You need to want the career to write the good stories bad enough. I'll throw in that I originally wanted to be a voice actor, and you can tell that I'm able to do it, even though I never went and pursued it. But I had spoken with the guy who played the mailman on Cheers at a Comic Con, and we discovered that I wasn't very serious about it. So if I ever meet him again in the future, I'm gonna say, "Here, Cliff, here's all these books I wrote. I got serious,
Yeah.
and he taught me to get serious. So Cliff Claving taught me to get serious. You know,
I can't wait. I have that same experience with Kevin Hearn in Arizona. Like
yeah.
he was so amazing. He was so cool. I was like, I want to write. I have just started to read like the Iron Druid Chronicles. That was like the first urban fantasy I read, and he was so cool. Brandon Sanderson was there. I met Pierce Brown that day. Patrick Rothfuss. Uh, Brian McCallum was there. Michael J.
Oh,
Sullivan.
Resident 2, yeah, Brian McCullen, yeah.
Yeah, Django Wexler, all of them were there. But Kevin Hearn was like, it was his show, and like he was so cool. He gave me like $100 gift card to like a used bookstore for my students because his wife like used to teach English. But like he was so cool. After that, I like messaged him and stuff. I asked him research questions. I asked him this and that. And he was always just so cool and just so responsive. And I agree with you, Andrew. Like I am so excited in the spring because I'm going to send him a signed copy of my novella because he really helped to inspire me. So I totally hope that you get to do that at some point and show up at a con or something like that. Maybe like he'll be at Still City at some point. You never know.
That'd be nice. Well, oh yeah, man, you should see Still City this weekend. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
got
yeah.
Freddy Krueger there now.
Mike Mullen couldn't join us today because he's actually there like right now. So.
Oh yeah, he is. Oh yeah, he is. Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I think that would be
Up there
so
tomorrow.
cool. You just hand it to him and be like, here's a signed copy. That'd be amazing. Super cool. I know we're wrapping up on time here. Before, if anybody wants to ask maybe another question or two, before we give out the signed copy of Andrew's previous release, The Ignited Moon. The Scorched Hunter wasn't out yet. Amazon was giving us grief, so we're gonna do a separate one for the month of January. Yeah, so everybody have to watch my channel. We'll be sharing all that, and then we'll give a copy of the Scorched Hunter paperback signed by Andrew. But today is gonna be the Ignited Moon. Anybody got a follow-up question? These have been absolutely awesome.
I have a question for you, Andrew. I ask this question to every author I interview, okay? I want you to go through and really think about this. If the Scorched Hunter had a theme song, what would it be?
Oh, that's great.
Theme song. Because I can already picture how it would start and how there would be like a zoom in into the woods at the beginning, and it starts out from the sky. It would probably be painted black by the Rolling Stones.
That's a good
Perfect. All right, Andrew, so in case anyone doesn't know, every author I interview, I ask them this question, and I add the song that they tell me onto a Spotify playlist, and you can go listen to that Spotify playlist. I have it on the channel. You can go through and check it out. I'm going to add Paint It Black on there too. It is so much fun. It's like almost 2 hours worth of music on there, and they're all over the place. So you can click shuffle, and you just hear all kind of amazing songs and some crazy ones as well. There's a few theme songs on there. I think we have the most recent one before Paint It Black was the MacGyver theme song. Come on,
awesome.
it is amazing. It's so much fun. So I'm gonna add Paint It Black on there for you, Andrew, so you can get it onto the list of amazing people.
Awesome.
That's awesome. That's super cool.
I'm gonna go look that up after this call, just because
Yeah.
I love the show MacGyver, but I don't remember the theme song, so now I have to know.
Oh, it's playing in my head right now. I'll never forget. I love that show. New one, not so much, but no offense to me.
That's right.
Chris, Nicholas, got another one for before we head out and wrap this up?
What's the weirdest thing you've had to research? Well, I guess it's
That's a
probably the
great
weather, isn't it?
No, it's not the weather.
It's not the weather. All right.
Yeah,
Good.
it's not the weather. I can't really think of the weirdest thing I've had to research. I just know that I've had to research quite a bit to make things a lot more believable. Before I was kind of going off of what I remembered from movies and other books, and you really just can't do that. It just makes you look a lot less serious. So I went and made sure that I Googled this and Googled that, and I found out that a quiver of arrows is roughly 29 arrows, not 30 or 25 or something like that. And that's what, I'll be featuring it in the book, of course, and everything. Not a spoiler, but you just kind of like, if you want to be in person who talks about archery and hunting, you gotta really know what you're talking about. I used to be into archery myself. I actually won $50 shooting bow and arrow, and my dad's like saying, I really wish I wouldn't have bet that kid. Right in the little square.
Nice. Nicely done. All right, one more question, Andrew. So what Daniel talked about earlier with how it's very cool how you write in different areas in the world you created, but you write, and it makes perfect sense that technology would be more advanced here than it would be here, and you can use different genres and play with that. And I think that's awesome because some authors do that, but a lot of times they time jump, right? to explain why technology is so much better. But I think that that's awesome that you stay in the same time frame. Do you feel like everything, all the ideas bouncing in your mind, because I know you have a lot, do you feel like everything is going to be able to fit into that world that you've created
Oh,
for the
absolutely.
foreseeable future?
Absolutely. It's all I mean, it's on in notebooks and it's in my head, and the thing is with the Iron Frost universe and the books that are within it, it's already been typed out.
That's awesome.
I only have to just make it sharper and cleaner and more and flow better. You know, if you read it out loud, it needs to flow. So it's all out there. What's not out there is the grim dark and horror, and well, the horror is going to be easy because it's 1970s Latrobe, Pennsylvania, where I'm from. So it'll be pretty darn easy for the most part.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
awesome,
So
man.
All right, well, that was an excellent question. Sorry, my camera died. I don't know what's going on with it. Like, we'll turn back on. Well, this has been great, guys. Thank you, Josh, for sharing that. I think we're all going to be, we'll have to post that in like my podcast group too. And like we'll email to everybody as well that wants it. So I think that we'll all be listening to that tonight and tomorrow. That's really awesome. But now I just want to real quick. So I had the numbers and stuff, so I clocked it in. So Justin, you won Andrew's signed copy of The Ignited Moon. So feel free to get a hold of me. I know you got my Facebook, messenger. So feel free to private message me your address, and I'll give it to Andrew, and we will send that off to you. So we want to thank everybody for coming. I want to make sure you had enough time to plug everybody. So of course, there's Andrew Johnston. You guys can check out his books, and his social links are in the description of this live. But then our other amazing guests and hosts as well. So Nicholas Fuller, newly minted Nerdy Nebula podcast. Yeah, Justin. So his is in there as well. So make sure you check that out. Subscribe. Chris, Bearded Book Beast, like he said, him and Andrew are talking this Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I actually just saw that, so I had to make sure that because we're going out of time. So I rescheduled some stuff in the morning to make sure I'm home by then. And then Josh and Marty Overbooked. Everybody's stuff is going to be in there. And then I will actually add the Spotify playlist in there as well. But if anybody wants it and can't find it, like, feel free, and we'll share that, because I can't wait to check that out. I'm gonna maybe write to that tonight or tomorrow.
That's
but
fun, man.
yeah, that's such a cool idea. So that's awesome. I feel like everybody does cooler stuff than me, so I'm gonna get my A game on.
I'll get our game.
Like Chris does these amazingly bad but amazing dad jokes that I love. My wife's like, "What are you listening to?" I'm like, "I'm just listening to Chris and these dad jokes." She doesn't know that Chris is another podcaster that interviews authors. She thinks that it's just dad jokes, and I'm like, her, like. I'm like, no, she's always like asking me, and I'm laughing at the time that it's like dad jokes. So I can totally see where, she would, totally think that. But yeah, so I really appreciate everybody coming on and checking us out. I absolutely love doing stuff with authors, but I absolutely love doing stuff with other podcast hosts. It just ends up being super, super fun. You guys always ask different questions than I do, and it makes me think differently, just like how when I interview authors, it makes me think differently. But I really appreciate everybody coming on and, helping us launch Andrew's book. Make sure you guys check out like I said, the live description. You can check out Andrew's newest book, The Scorched Hunter. Sorry that my other camera sucks now. But this is an amazing looking book. I started the first couple chapters. Like Josh said, it's really cool. Ignited Moon. I started I think it was about 1/3 of the way through that one. I got to check that one out again at the start of the year. But definitely also check out The Discarded Night as well. That one I'm trying to get in as well by like the spring at this point. But please make sure you check out my 2026 reading list. I know like Chris has had a bunch of really cool videos. Everybody here has actually. So make sure you check everybody's stuff out. Again, please subscribe, give us a share, follow on whatever social medias you guys can. Please do that for Andrew as well. Thank you, everybody, for coming on. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you having me, man. It was fun.
Anytime. Can't wait to do the next. Thanks, guys.